Okay guys, today's video I'm going to go over Telex point-to-point unicasting and give an example of how it works and how to program it and show you the screenshots of two of the devices that are talking to each other. Normally in a Telex environment, the radio devices put out their packet streams in a multicast version where they're using a 226 domain, and it goes across the entire LAN for any devices that want to listen to it. And it's what they call a fire and forget type of system, where the data packets just go out in any direction like a spider web, and there's no tracing of where they go or expectation of a reply. Instead of doing that type of system, you can also send the ROIP data packets from point to point, as long as they're individually addressed. And that's what I'm going to show how to do here. Is when you have a radio at one location and you're just trying to get back to a console at the other, and vice versa, and you're not interested in sharing any of this data with any other Telex devices. It's just an exclusive connection. So I'm going to start over here at the base radio, and I'm going to talk about when it's receiving radio traffic. The audio comes out of the base radio and goes into the Telex, where it is encoded into packets. And in this case, these packets are going to be broadcast to this address at ending in .26, and they're going to have it's going to be on port 6076. So as these data packets come across the network headed for this location, when they get over here to this Telex device is set up to also to expect broadcasts coming from the .45 and also to be on a particular port. If it sees the broadcast coming from the .45 but is not on the correct port, it'll ignore whatever is being sent. Also, if it's the wrong address. So both the address and the port have to be correct. Once they meet those factors, then the audio is put back into analog form and sent out of the IP-223 to the tone remote, where it's played out on the audio amplifier here. So that is one direction. Now let's look at the other direction, where we have a push to talk on our tone remote here. The tone remote tones are decoded and packets are initiated to be sent out across the network with the transmit audio being packetized inside them. Now when it comes out of the remote here, it's going to be intended to be sent to this IP address down here with a transmit port of 7076. Now in Telex naming conventions, all references to receive and transmits are made in reference to the radio side of it. So they don't flip the port numbers here when you're a console. Even though you are doing the reverse role, you still refer to the same port numbers as they are referenced at the radio. So transmit port here is referencing to audio going to the radio transmitter, not transmit audio coming going from the IP-223 out. So anyway, once the audio is packetized, it is sent through the network. Once again, on this end here, it is expecting a unicast coming from the .26 and also to be at this port. When it is both these conditions are satisfied, it will initiate a push-to-talk closure going to the radio here and take the transmit audio coming from the tone remote's microphone and bring it into the radio to be broadcast out. So those are the two different directions of the unicasting. Now let's take a look at the tone remote side of it. Here's just a schematic showing we have the 4 wires coming in and out of the tone remote, and on the BK side of it, I'm showing the schematic here. I went over this in detail in the previous video, but this is just a recap of what we have going on in here. So now I want to take a look at the actual IP-223s themselves. So we'll start off over here at the console, the one that's hooked up to the tone remote, and you can see I got my my IP address in here at the basic Ethernet setup. On my gain screen, I have no gains on any in and outs. On the multicast screen, I only have line 1 enabled. I'm calling it TR console. This is showing the address to where it's expecting packets to come from, and the port number that those packets should be coming from on the radio side. This would be the transmit address, would be audio intended to go to the radio at the distant end, and the port that you're going to send that in. I don't have anything else on the screen. I'm not using any of the other functions. When you come over to the per line setup, you see we're in console mode here. I have line 1 enabled. I don't need to worry about any of the other functions at all, except to I just have my first group of frequencies here enabled. I have a 4-channel tone remote here, but I also have an 8-channel one for my laptop that's using the virtual software. So I just have it pre-set up with that. And here comes the most important part of it all for the console part, which is this box right here, the parallel tone console. This must be selected, or it will not work in console mode. They tell you this in the manual, but it's very sneaky. You wouldn't otherwise know to look for that, but it is. They do tell you in the console, but make sure that is selected, or it will not work. That's the setup for the console side. Now let's come over here and select the .45, and that's on the radio side, and see how it's set up. I have on the general gain, as you see on my transmit here, it's minus 28.5, and the reason it's turned down so low is that if you look at the accessory mic that comes in here on pin 19, it is a high impedance, kind of very low signal microphone circuit. It's not like a 600 ohm line circuit, so it's really sensitive and needs really low voltage audio to come into it. So that's why I have the big reduction in gain here, and that's so on my front pot, my potentiometer on the front of the IP-223, I have to turn it up about a third or half the way, and that's kind of where you want your physical pots, is to be able to go about, somewhere in the middle. You don't want them to be extreme on one end, barely touch, or have to crank it all the way up to get the desired results. So this minus 28.5 I came by just by experimentation to see how much it took before I could finally get that pot to be effective. Now over here in the multicast, we see we're going to be set up here for local mode. Here's my address of the console on the other side. So this is letting me know when I do have received traffic coming out of the radio, which address to send it to and on what port. And the transmit is going to be transmit audio coming from the console needing to go into the radio, which will be coming out of this particular IP-223. So that's it for the multicast. Now over here on the ProLine setup, I do have the COR enabled because I have the receive indicate line out of the BK radio to use. If I didn't have that, I could use the LAM here to give it like a Vox type of operation. I just got the one frequency here because I'm only using one frequency enabled. Don't have any of the other options or any of the other features enabled. So that's really straightforward. Like I said, just COR and first frequency enabled. And that's going to be it for the setup for the two IP-223s. And yeah, the local doing the unicast. Once you get the ideas down that the receive ports and the transmit ports are always in reference to the radio side, not to anywhere else, it becomes fairly easy. So all right, well, I hope that solves it, and we'll talk to you soon.